And with that, I'm joined now by Ty Cobb, who served as a White House attorney in Donald Trump's first administration. Ty, thanks so much for being here. It's always great to see you.
Hi, Kristen. Great to be with you.
So let's dive right in. When President Trump first won in November, you said it would be, quote, tragic if he pardoned the January 6th defendants. Now that he has actually followed through with that, this blanket pardon of 1,500 people, what's your reaction?
Yes, I think this was a gross abuse of power. History will not look fondly back on this when you have a man who frustrated the lawful transfer of power in an effort to preserve his own legacy and stay in power, and people committed violent acts on his behalf. Normalizing those people and giving them pardons and commutations, particularly the most violent people. Obviously some of these offenses, unlawful parading, et cetera, not the biggest things in the world, but the people who actually did commit violence and exhort violence, of which there were hundreds, that is very sad. Of course, the day before, we had some very sad pardons too that I think the founders probably still spinning in their graves about, when the Biden pardoned his whole family and others. So it's just sad to see these two men denigrate the pardon power and the majesty of the Constitution.
President Trump did campaign saying he was going to pardon all the defendants. He didn't say that he would pardon everyone, but he said he wasn't ruling anyone out. Are you surprised, Ty?
No, because fundamentally this is a lazy act. This is somebody who didn't want to make the distinctions between different types of conduct, which would have been easy to do. And I'm sure his advisors were urging him with regard to many of these people not to take any action on their behalf. But no, I think when he gets the urge or the whim, he just acts, and consequences be damned.
I want to follow up with you on President Biden's pardons. He did, as you note, pardon his family members. He did not pardon himself. President Trump weighed in on that. Take a look. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
And people said, and they wouldn't have even taken, most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him.
Ty, how do you read that comment from the president?
I read it as his sort of mental meanderings in the middle of an answer. I mean, he will seize on some odd aspect of an action and call it out, but I don't think it's anything other than provocative. I don't think it foreshadows going after President Biden.
So you don't think he's suggesting that he's laying the groundwork to potentially go after President Biden or to have his attorney general or FBI director go after him?
I don't believe so, but I can't make any guarantees.
Okay. Let me ask you about the Supreme Court. Of course, as I just noted, gave the president, not just this president, but any president, broad immunity from anything considered official acts. How do you think that ruling plays out in a Trump presidency?
So I think that decision has gotten really undue emphasis as a political decision as opposed to a purely constitutional decision. In reality, it's since Nixon back in the early 70s, we've understood that the president had immunity from official acts. And what we didn't understand was whether or not that included criminal immunity. Now we understand that it does. Constitutionally, that makes some sense. There was a line that had to be drawn because a jury had to be instructed on the differences between a crime by a former president and lawful acts. So they had to make a decision. They had to draw a line, and they had to say where the line was. Now, they may have gone too far. I think personally they went too far, and I think they went too far on the evidentiary issues. But I think they were right that there is some immunity, and certainly some criminal immunity to official acts, or you could be prosecuted for war crimes all around the world. At the same time, no, it did embolden Trump. Trump did misread the opinion. He does see it as, suggesting that he is totally insulated from consequences, and hopefully he won't test it as hard as we expect him to. But if he does, I think he'll be rudely disappointed by the fact that there really do remain some limitations.
Let me ask you about his picks for Attorney General and FBI Director Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. What are you, if they are both confirmed, what are you going to be watching for?
I think Pam Bondi has the opportunity to be a solid Attorney General. She's got as much or more law enforcement experience than most people who ever came into that job, running a large professional law enforcement agency, the state of Florida, which she did effectively for many years. On the other hand, she is definitely a Trump loyalist, and there will be things that frustrate people about that. I hope that she will not go as low as Kash Patel has promised to go. I hope Kash Patel does not get confirmed, but given the fact that Pete Hegseth is going to be confirmed, I think it's highly likely that they won't be able to stop anybody. Unfortunately, I think the FBI will wither and dry on the vine under his leadership, and I think it'll be a disaster for that organization, which has obviously had its difficulties over the recent past, and particularly with Comey and others. But at the same time, it's been a jewel in the crown of American law enforcement and worldwide law enforcement for many, many decades, and I hope that it can restore itself.
All right, Ty Cobb, we covered a lot of ground. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kristen. Great to be with you. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. It's always great to see you, Ty. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.